Well, in what many may describe as a milestone achievement, the Central Bank of Nigeria yesterday announced the long-awaited new FX policy. Some of the key points include an exchange rate that will be purely market-driven. The forex market will also operate a single market structure, and there will be an establishment of a futures market for foreign exchange. What's the perception of the international community on this development? I'm being joined by a senior macroeconomist at Ecobank London, Gaimin Monyane. Good afternoon, Gaimin. Good to have you on the program.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Now, watching closely from outside Nigeria, what do you make of this new policy coming from Central Bank of Nigeria?
Well, I think it's a very good thing. It's a step in the right direction. This is a long-awaited policy that the market has been waiting for. There have been lots of discussion about devaluation of the currency or allowing the exchange rates to be more flexible. And now we've seen that the central bank governor has taken a U-turn and decided to go with the market expectation in allowing the currency to float. But however, given that there will be certain interventions in the market, it will be more of a managed float with no predetermined path.
Now, a report released by Ecobank Group today says, although there will be some economic recovery, of course, you've just mentioned that, uncertainty still persists. What's this uncertainty about?
Well, the uncertainty, of course, we know that there's still a ban on the importation of certain goods and services. So, and then we've seen the fact that interbank cannot be sold, interbank funds cannot be sold in the BDC, the Bureau de Change. So these factors will continue to damage the economy through higher inflation, and of course, because there are certain restrictions in the economy, as well as through further uncertainty with regards to the exchange rates. So instead of having the currency clear effectively, it will be kind of constrained to some extent because of these restrictions that are still in place.
Now, in the new policy, the new exchange rate of the Naira against other major currencies will now be market determined. In other words, the appreciation or depreciation of the Naira is a matter of demand and supply. How beneficial is this for an average business person and, of course, an investor?
Well, I think it's very good because that effectively it means that there are no restrictions on the currency, although we know that there are certain restrictions still in place to some extent for the importation of certain goods and services. But from an investor perspective, this is the right path that the CBN has taken, the right approach in terms of recovering. It would help in terms of demand and supply of foreign exchange. But I don't think Nigeria is out of the woods yet because the supply of foreign exchange into the country is still very low and demand continues to be more excessive than supply. So we'll still have a weak currency, which of course will lead to higher inflation. We've just seen inflation reach almost 16% in May, and we're likely to see further increases in prices as a result of the weakening of the currency, which we're likely to see next week as soon as the exchange rates new policy comes into effect. And this, of course, will tend to stoke more uncertainty in the markets.
Now, the central bank at its last monetary policy meeting had announced that a new window will be created for critical transactions. Instead, what we have seen in the new policy is the elimination of a two-market structure that has been in place since 1986 into a single market structure, which will be hosted by the interbank market. Now, speaking from an international perspective, is this preferable option?
Yes, effectively, it is a preferable option. It helps to improve price competitiveness as well as transparency in the market, whereas in the previous approach, it led to a two-tier market whereby you have two different exchange rates. So in this case, you just have one official exchange rate, which will be good. It helps to boost competitiveness, and investors will be more transparent about the situation going on in Nigeria in terms of the exchange rates.
Now, there's also the establishment of the futures market for foreign exchange. Is that what the foreign investor or business person out there would want to see?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the futures markets, the central bank would be using that to help to smooth out volatility in the markets. So it is a good thing because once you move from a peg to a flexible exchange rate policy, then you're likely to have certain, your volatility of your currency is likely to increase than before. So this would help in terms of smoothing out volatility in the Naira.
Now, going forward, how best do you think the CBN should manage this new FX regime to ensure efficiency?
Well, I think this is a step in the right direction. They've taken the very first approach to try to adopt a flexible exchange rate, which is a good thing. I think that there has to be minimal intervention in the markets. You need to allow the currency to find its own equilibrium, which is good for any developed economy as well as emerging markets. And for Nigeria, I think where you have very strong import demand against very weak supply of foreign exchange, I think there needs to be some flexibility in terms of allowing the Naira to find its own equilibrium. But so far, we've still got a ban on the importation of certain goods, which will not allow the Naira to clear effectively and reach full equilibrium in the foreign exchange markets. So I think over time, I think the central bank would need to have to remove that ban in order to allow full Naira flexibility.
All right, thank you very much, Gaimin, for your time.
Thank you.
Well, that was Gaimin Monyane. She is a senior macroeconomist at EcoBank, London. In Uganda, a village savings and loan program is helping both refugees and their hosts start businesses. The project started 2 years ago when has mobilized over 139 community members and is helping support farmers and small business owners. Uganda allows refugees to have access to the same services as Ugandan nationals, including the right to work and establish their own businesses.
Rebecca is entertaining her customers at a small shop in Ruwamwanja, southwest Uganda. Rebecca is a refugee from the Democratic Republic of Congo. She fled her country in 2012 when fighting broke out in her village back home. She says she had nothing when she arrived in Uganda, but through a savings and loan program, she now runs a drink store in her host country.
I had nothing. I just used to walk around, but today I'm doing much better. I have livestock, a home, and other assets.
Violent unrest in eastern Congo in recent years has seen tens of thousands of refugees cross into neighboring Uganda for shelter. 2 years ago, Rebecca joined a project known as the Village and Savings and Loan Program, a community credit facility that allows refugees access cheap credit. Members are allowed to borrow and save under the project.
I started with $30 and I got another $30 from the group, and I started to trade in sodas and beer. I went on to back the loan. Then I decided to put up my own store.
Micro-lending is known to help grow businesses, according to researchers, and has also contributed towards families managing their budgets in some areas. It has also helped give women power to make decisions in the family. By early December last year, Uganda had become home to almost 511,000 refugees and asylum seekers, the highest number ever in the country's history.